Yes, good morning, everybody. Hello, hi Disha, hi Kashish, hi Namrita. Good morning, everybody. So happy to see all of you here. Let's wait for some time to begin with the session. We'll start at sharp 11 o'clock. Meanwhile, if anybody has any questions, you can always type in the chat box and I'll answer them. Good morning, Varun. Good morning, Rohit. So Varun, you're asking whether it's a good time to prepare notes. So it depends, Varun, how much time you have on hand, whether you're giving one group or two groups, right? So if you are someone who cannot study without your own handmade notes and you just have one group with left with you and you're almost done with the other subjects, then you may prepare notes for audit, right? Okay. Let's wait for 5 more minutes before we start with today's session. Okay, so you're saying both groups. So I will recommend at this stage, you may not spend time in preparing your notes. You can refer to some notes from a good author, right? From a good professor of audit. And you may refer to that notes because now there's very little time left to do this activity. Okay, Sharjil is asking the exact dates. So tomorrow we are going to get the clarification. So we need to wait for one more day to get exact clarification on the dates for both inter and foundation exams, right? Your Sharjil, you're an inter CA student, I understand. So you'll get a clear picture by tomorrow. Yeah. So just wait for one more day. Namrita is asking that should we go for test series now or is it advisable to write mocks only? See, Namrita, if you've finished your portion and you'll be writing mocks given by ICAI and you have now time for revision and doing solving multiple questions, I will recommend you should join the test series. Right, you can join CA test series to solve multiple different type of questions, and so that you are getting more and more practical knowledge, like how to write questions, what are the different type of questions that are asked. Yes, you should be joining a test series at this stage. Okay, next question is from Avi. Ma'am, I've registered for both groups. Then I prepared for one group and I completed revision detailed of account 70% law and tax. Also, I completed my class of costing. So can I go for both the groups? So Avi, what I can tell you is, see, if exams are not getting postponed, you may continue with if exams are not postponed, you may give one group, but if tomorrow we'll get a clear picture. In case they are getting postponed, you may start, you may give both the groups then, right? So I think you should wait for tomorrow. Meanwhile, you complete that one group really well, right? And then move on to the next. So if it is in May as per the earlier schedule, then you should continue with one group. But if it is two, the exams are getting postponed, you may write both the groups. Rohit is asking how to handle articleship with group 2. I have come to Delhi for articleship, but I feel like there is a lot of distraction. So what I can tell you, when you're doing articleship and your studies, the key is that you are very, very consistent, that the time that you have on hand, you're using it really well, that the mornings and the evenings that you get, you're making maximum use of it. And also weekends, you are studying very, very sincerely. That is the key to ensure that you're putting in your best efforts, right? So see, distractions are always going to be there, but you need to know what your priorities are. Santosh, has the level session started? No, we are starting in 2 minutes. Just like a lot of students are asking questions. So meanwhile, I thought let's start answering questions. So we start exactly at 11. I'm just answering students meanwhile, right? Okay, let's start in 2 minutes then. So rest of y'all, the balance questions. So I have a Q&A at the very end. So whoever I've not answered, I'll answer your questions in the end, right? Because now we'll start with today's session. So please wait for the Q&A and I'll be answering all your questions. Don't worry. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to start with today's session, and today is Masterclass 6. And I really hope you all have been attending my previous masterclasses, right? Can you just quickly type in the Q&A and tell me how many of you all are the first timers, or how many of you all have attended my previous webinars for CA test series? Okay, a lot of you are first timers. Okay, and a lot of you have attended previous sessions. So all those who are the first timers, here you have to type in Q&A because the chat is not available here. So you need to, write in your Q&A box. Yeah. Okay. Okay, a lot of you have attended before. Great. So what I can tell you all is, for those who missed the previous sessions wherein we spoke about a lot of things like handling stress, exam strategies, how to present in your exams, we have uploaded all this on the CA Test Series YouTube channel for your benefit. So please have a look at it so that you make maximum use of these webinars, right? And okay, let's begin with today's webinar then. So I'm sure like you all are aware that today we are going to cover two very, very important topics. One is using visualization to work on exam anxiety. Second is learning the secret skill on bouncing back from failure. Now, you all must be thinking why these two topics and how are these two connected, right? Now, first, I come across so many students who tell me that, ma'am, I've prepared really, really well, but when I go to the exam hall, I am completely blank. I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do. So today I'm going to teach you a technique which will help you be in a better state of mind and help you deal with exam anxiety. And that is visualization. The second thing is a lot of people here are reattempters and they don't know how to bounce back. All these negativities, negative thoughts keep coming and they're not able to put in their best efforts, right? So I thought, when we are so close to exams, these are very, very crucial topics which I need to cover for my students. And that's why we are having these two topics here. So can you tell me how many of y'all are reattempters? And you can just write first timer, reattempter for your May or June attempt. Yes, you can type in the Q&A. As in first attempt in May or June, or your reattempter. Okay, so a lot of reattempters here. So do you all have that fear that what if it happens all over again? What if I have to give these exams again? And that now that with the new syllabus, God, I really don't know what is going to happen. Are all these thoughts bothering you all? Yes, I'm getting a lot of answers here. Yes. Okay. Okay. And for the first attempters and also for the reattempters, when you go to the exam hall, it is something which creates a lot of anxiety in you. Yes. You tend to get very nervous. Okay. So today we are going to talk about both these areas. As I told you all, first is using visualization to work on exam anxiety. Right? So let's start with the first topic now. Everybody is with me? Yes? Let me get a hands up from everybody so I know everybody is here with me, present, and is going to make maximum use of this webinar. Okay, I'm getting a lot of yes from students and a lot of, okay, great, great, very good, great. So now the power of visualization. Can you all hear me and see me clearly, or is my image getting hang? Am I audible? Okay, great. Okay. So tell me one thing. When does your mind not perform at its best? I'm repeating the question. When your mind does not perform at its best. Now, example, this guy, you can name him Suyash, for example. So he is giving his exams, but when he is at the exam center, he's all having all these thoughts and worries in his mind. First, what is the formula? Do I remember the formula for so and so? Or have I prepared enough? People are looking so confident. Do you have such questions going on in your head when you're at the exam center? Yes? Or what if the paper set is really difficult with the new syllabus? Will I be able to manage? Right? And what if I don't do good? What if I don't clear? What if I have to give another attempt? People around me are looking so confident. Do you have such thoughts when you're in the exam center? Yes? Yeah. Yes, I'm getting a lot of people saying that they do face similar issues, right? So basically, when your mind does not perform at its best, when you are very worried about what will happen, what will the outcome be, and my mind is very busy thinking what will happen in the future, what will be my outcome, that time my mind cannot perform at its best. Now let me give you an example. Right now, imagine in your college, or maybe during your articleship, suddenly in a crowd they have asked you to speak on a topic, right? Or a there's a surprise test, and there's something which has come which you've not studied at all, which you've never studied. What happens when you have to speak on the spot? You're flabbergasted, you don't know what to speak, you're very nervous, as against somebody has told you, that this is a topic, this is what you have to speak on. And then what happens? Automatically you're speaking really well, or this, you have one chapter test, you've prepared and you have given it well, right? So naturally you perform in a much better way, right? So when your mind does perform at its best, when the mind is not worried about what will happen. So when you know that this is the this is the thing that is expected, and I'm not worried about the outcome, that is the time the mind performs at its best. Now, when will my mind be very comfortable and perform at my best? When my mind is in my comfort zone, when I feel I have done this activity so many times that I'm absolutely in my comfort zone, and I'm so engrossed doing it that I don't think about the outcome, right? When my mind feels that what I'm doing is completely something which I've done umpteen number of times, when my mind feels that I'm very comfortable doing it, that is the time I don't think about the outcome, right? So we are going to make use of this particular thing and through visualization. Now let's understand what is visualization and how I can use visualization for my CA exams to reduce my exam anxiety, right? So what is visualization? So basically using your mind to imagine what you want in the future, right? So see, there's a scientific fact that the brain cannot tell the difference between what is real and imaginary. Now, let me give you an example. See, so many times, you were sleeping and you had a very bad dream, and you suddenly got up and you were like, oh, thank God it's a dream. Has it happened? Or the other way around, that you were sleeping and you got up and you were like, oh, it was such a lovely dream, I wish it was reality. Has it happened to you all? Yes? Okay, I'm getting a lot of thumbs up, right? So that is what I'm trying to tell you all. So our brain, it cannot differentiate between what is real and what is imaginary, and we are going to make use of this to boost your performance, to boost your exam performance when you're giving your exams, and second, when you for your desired results, right? So visualization, there are basically two types of visualization. One is outcome. No, so let me tell you one thing. It's just not we as CA students. A lot of sports people also use visualization. So in gymnastics, in athletics, they use visualization. Of course, they are practicing. They are ensuring that they do a lot of practice. But in their mind also, they have done it umpteen number of times. They know, for example, in gymnastics, they know those complicated things in, steps in how much time I have to complete, right? So gymnastics is used by sportsmen, by all the rankers, by toppers. So there are two types of visualization. One is outcome. Outcome is, so this gymnast is thinking, I want to win this gold medal, or I want to win this award, right? So that is outcome, desiring the outcome that I want. Second is process. So what is process visualization? She's imagining she's getting each and every step right, perfectly done within the duration. Like maybe in few seconds, she has to complete this particular step, right? So, there are basically two types of visualization, outcome and process, and both of it are very, very important in your visualization process, right? So today we will talk about both outcome and process and how you have to use it for your CA exams. Okay. So why do I visualize? First, to train your mind to work much more effectively in uncertain situations. For you, the current uncertain situation is your exam center, like going to an exam, writing a paper. So the process. Second, to attract the future that you want, right? So the CA result, the results that you want. So first, to to ensure that you're working better in such an uncertain situation like the exam scenario. Second, to attract the future that you want, that is the outcome, right? So visualization for CA exams. Now, outcome visualization and process. So these two types, I'm going to tell you all how it is to be done, the very important things that you have to keep in mind, and a very important practice that has to be done every time you do visualization, right? So outcome visualization is your ideal mark sheet with the exact marks, with the emotions that you accompany. So let me explain the emotions part in detail in some time. And process visualization is, we will be discussing 4 scenarios. One, you enter the exam hall. Second, you're scanning the question paper. And third, you're writing the paper. Now, when I talk about visualization, so what one very important thing is, which most students miss when they visualize something, is emotions. See, for the brain to feel that this has actually happened many times, a very important factor is the emotions. If my emotions are involved, it helps my brains feel that it has actually happening. It is actually happening, and it has happened many number of times. So every time you visualize, it is very important that you have the necessary emotions accompanied, right? So when I talk about outcome visualization, so, when I'm thinking about the outcome, first you will have to think what are the elements that will be involved. Elements is, mostly you will see the result on your phone or on the laptop, and there'll be your family members or your friends with you. And obviously you'll have to make what is the marks that you're expecting in each subject, right? For group 1, for group 2, you make your mark sheet as if it has actually happened, like the desired marks you want. And every time you imagine, you should also imagine the emotions that you want, right? How will you feel when you get your marks, the desired marks? How will you see when you see that pass there, right? You will be joyful, you will be ecstatic, you will have you'll be very satisfied that the emotion, like the hard work that I put in for so many months or so many years has finally yield the benefits, right? Yield the results, right? So that is when you come to outcome. Processes, first, when you're entering the exam hall. So obviously when you enter the exam hall, what will you see? Elements. Elements is the things that I see around. So the elements would be, there'll be benches, there'll be other people other students who will be sitting, right? Then you will be going to your table, you will be sitting there. You will be having all your material outside, your writing pad, your pen, everything, calculator, all the things that you needed. You have to, when you visualize, you have to think of all these minute things, right? How you will be feeling, right? Initially, maybe looking at people around you, you might feel a little nervous, but how do you want to feel? You want to feel very confident. You're satisfied that whatever you've studied, you have done it really well. So first thing is when you enter the exam hall. Second, when you're scanning the paper. So when you're scanning, what will be the elements? The examiner will give you the question paper. You'll be scanning it. Those 15 minutes, you're utilizing it well, right? So those elements and the feelings. What feelings do you want? That, you know, whatever I have studied, that has come. I'm very happy, joyful that I'm going to be able to write this paper very well. I'm strategizing well. I am, ensuring that I'm using these 15 minutes really, really well. Right. Third is you're writing the paper. When you're writing the paper, again, that whatever you've studied, you could write it very well, a sense of joy, a sense of satisfaction. And when you give the paper back to the examiner, what are the feelings that you want, right? So you'll imagine that you're actually giving the paper back to the examiner after finishing the paper really well, and you're very happy, you're satisfied that whatever you studied, you could attempt it very well, right? A sense of joy and satisfaction is there that you could put in your best efforts, right? So basically, when you all visualize, ideally, best time to visualize would be at night before sleeping, so that it gets into the subconscious mind. So outcome, as I told you, make the mark sheet and think of all the emotions that you wanted to be accompanied, and the elements. Similarly, for process also, you will have to think at least once. You have to write down of the small elements which you see around, so that when you visualize, you will actually be able to visualize in detail. So the process is entering the exam hall, when you're scanning the question paper, writing the paper, and returning it back to the examiner. Now, very, very important for this is that there are few things to ensure that, you know, your visualization is done really well and it is extremely effective. The first and foremost thing is the images must be clear and detailed. So every time you do the visualization exercise, right, once at least before you start this entire visualization thing, it is important that you write down the elements. What will you see in each of these scenarios, and what are the emotions that you want in each of these scenarios, right? So this is a one-time exercise you will have to do. Second important thing is very important is images or videos. So every image or everything that you're imagining has to be accompanied by emotions. So again, I'm repeating, you know, a lot of students tell me, I have been doing visualization for so long, but, you know, it has never helped me, because a very, very important thing that we all miss is feelings. Because only when I have those emotions or feelings accompanied, my brain believes that this is actually happening, right? So very important that whenever you're imagining, the feelings and emotions also have to accompany your visualization. Now, the third thing is image videos must be in first person, like a 3D computer game. So have you all played 3D computer games, all of you? You all can quickly type in the chat box. Yes, or you can just give me a thumbs up if you have. Okay, I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. Okay, so when you play computer games, especially 3D ones, what happens is when you actually play and you're the player, you cannot see yourself, right? You imagine that you're actually there. Similarly, when I am doing any kind of visualization, I have to imagine that I'm actually in that exam hall. So obviously, in case there's a mirror in front of you, that is the only time you see your face, right? Or your mobile, like when you take a selfie, right? But other times when you're in an exam hall, you have to imagine that you're actually there. So you will not be able to see your face, but obviously you will be able to see all the elements. You'll be able to see the table, your hands, you writing, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, when you imagine that you're actually there. When I'm actually at a place, I don't see myself. I see the things around, and obviously I see my hands. I will imagine that I'm actually writing, but you don't get to see yourself, as in you don't see your face, right? So when you imagine, in the initial time, you might face this difficulty where you imagine yourself completely there. But over a period of time, as you keep doing this visualization, you have to do it in such a way that you are there. So if I'm actually in an exam hall, what are the elements that are around me, and what are the emotions that I feel, right? Now, very important is doing both the process visualization and the outcome visualization every day. So it is not a very long activity. It is a hardly 15 minutes activity, but the key here is consistency. So, imagine that exams are in May only. So if you have 45 days now, right? So 45 days, if you do it every single day, what will happen is your mind will feel, yeah, I have given my, I have gone through this entire process of going to an exam hall, writing the paper, answering it, and doing it really well, right? So your mind will feel that I'm completely in the comfort zone, right? Your mind will feel completely at ease when you actually do it, right? So what you could do is you could do a very, very general visualization, maybe, generally for all subjects together. Or if you feel that, I'm very, very scared of audit, for example, that's my most, the scariest subject for me, you can even do subject specific visualization. Like, you're going for an audit paper. So what will happen when you enter the exam hall, when you receive the paper, when you're scanning through it, then, you're writing the paper and you return it to the examiner after finishing it, right? The sense of joy and satisfaction that even the most difficult paper could be answered really well, and you were very, very, you attempted it well, and you will be scoring very well in it, right? So basically, you can use it in general or very, very specific subject wise. If you have 2-3 subjects which are very difficult, someday you imagine for the first one, then the second one, right? But very important is the consistency here. Okay. So far, have you all understood the process of how you have to do your visualization? Yes. Can you all just write in the Q&A or just give me a thumbs up? Because I need to tell you a very important step before you do the visualization. Yes. So I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. So everybody is with me. Great. Okay. 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 Fine. So, what happens is, in my one-to-one sessions, I give them, I customize each visualization for my students. But basically what I see is, after you students do it for 1 day, 2 days, but third day they feel that I can't do it, it's not happening. Now, one major reason why, one big hurdle for visualization is that, I am normally we all are people who, are very, very, maybe complaining about our present, or not very happy or very worried about my present. So if I have to visualize a very, very good future for myself, or the outcome which I want, it can only happen when I'm very happy and, joyful in the present moment. Because it is the nature of human mind to focus on what is not there in life, right? So most people are always complaining about small things. So when I'm not happy in the present moment, how can I think of something good happening to me in the future, right? So a very, very important step here is gratitude practice. Only when you're grateful about all the things that you have in the present, I can think of a good future. So you will be able to visualize what you want clearly in the future, right? Imagine when you are not in a good state of mind, how can you think that some good things are happening to you in the future? Like, the most difficult exam for audit, for example, it's a very difficult paper for you. How can you imagine that it is going very well when I am in a very, grumpy, or in a state where I'm constantly complaining about currently what I'm doing. I have to study for 12 hours, or I am not getting to meet my friends, or whatever. So many thoughts that come to your mind in this entire phase, right? So a very important thing that you need to remember every time before you do visualization, you have to do the gratitude practice. Because only when I'm happy now, I'm grateful for what I have, I can think and visualize good things for the future, right? So gratitude practice is a very, very important practice that you have to do before visualization. It will help your mind better retain visuals you create, right? So what I will recommend is, before you do the visualization, what you should be doing is, for some time, just, close your eyes. If you want, you can write down. If you don't want to write down, just count the blessings that you have, the good things that you have in your life, right? So such small things, like, so many people in this world don't have a house, don't get food to eat, and, don't get to pursue what they really want, pursue their passion, and you all are that way so lucky to get to do what you want, giving your CA. Even if you're reattempting, you are having support of your parents, of your relatives. So many small things. But when we go to think of it, if everybody in the world has it, and then you realize how lucky you are. So if you start counting your blessings, you'll realize that there are crores and crores of things that you are so grateful for, right? So what I'm saying is, before I visualize, before I do the entire visualization practice process and the outcome that I want, very important, for some time, just count your blessings. You can just do it orally. Just think of all the things that you have in your good things that you have in your life. So it's a very, very effective way. See, visual gratitude practice is something which helps you change your mood any time of the day. You just anytime if you feel that things are not going well and you're very sad or you're very irritated, if you just close your eyes and you start counting the good things that you have in life, you'll realize automatically it changes your mood, right? So gratitude practice is a very, very powerful practice which you should regularly do, and especially do it before you do your visualization. Yes. So attitude of gratitude is extremely important. So please do it every time before you visualize. And as I told you all, try doing your visualization before you go to sleep, right? So on your bed, or you can, when you sit on your bed, you could do this. And first you do the gratitude practice, then you do your visualization. First visualize the process, the outcome, and then you can go to sleep. So what happens is, it will go into your subconscious mind, and this visualization will be much, much more effective. Yes. So now I finished the first part, that is the visualization part. Any doubts, any questions in this part? I'll wait for 2 minutes. If you have any particular questions about visualization, please, you can ask me. Then I can move on to the next part. Yes, everybody with me? Has everybody understood? Or you can just give me a thumbs up that yes, to know that we all are on the same page. Okay. Fine. Great. Great. Okay. Yes. Lovely. Okay. Okay. I'm glad all of you all are with me. I've understood and will do it, right? Syed is saying that anything done a part of studies scares me. So Syed, this exercise is something which will help you see why you get scared, because you're getting scared that what will happen in the future, right? So this exercise is to be done to ensure that your mind feels that I'm going through this entire process so many times that when you actually go to your exam hall on your exam day, you will be in a much more comfortable and in a much more relaxed state, right? So try doing this, Syed. This will really help you ease your exam anxiety to a great extent. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, now we move on to the next part. So as I told you all, the second part is learning the secret skill of bouncing back from failure, right? What is the most important and a secret skill to bounce back from any failure? Okay, before I start that, I want you all to answer two questions basically. What do you think makes someone very, very successful? Or what is the most important quality of a successful individual? So what is the most important factor that will decide whether you succeed or not? Can I get your answers? Can you all quickly type in the chat box? What do you think is the most important quality which is common in every successful individual? Yes, any guesses? Anything you all think is the most important quality for a person to be successful in whatever endeavors they are doing? Yes, I'm waiting for your responses. Okay. You're saying patience, perception towards life, consistency and discipline. Okay. Commitment, consistency, no fear of failure, discipline, consistency, learning from mistakes, focus, punctuality to be happy, determination. Okay. Focus, consistency, clarity, getting up at 4 a.m., patience, consistency. Okay. A lot of consistency and hard work. Okay. Fine. Okay. So let me tell you one thing. So this lady whose picture I've put in, her name is Angela Duckworth. Okay, she's a psychologist and she has done a detailed research on this topic from the University of Pennsylvania, and she has done a very scientific research on what is the most important factor that decides whether a person is successful or not. Now, before I tell you all what is the factor, right? Let me tell you two stories, two people. Okay, do you recognize any of these two? Any of y'all? Y'all can just type on the screen before I tell you all about their stories. Anybody knows these two people? One second. KFC founder, absolutely right. And the second one? So KFC founder, his name is Colonel Sanders. Okay, and the second one, anybody? Anybody knows it? Okay, Nawazuddin Siddiqui. Absolutely. So you all know both of them. So let me tell you one thing. Okay, you know KFC, you know it's such a big brand. Do you know at what age did this person, Colonel Sanders, make KFC such a big success? When was it such a big hit? Any idea? Any guesses? Anybody can tell me. Oh, okay. Somebody's saying 12. No. Okay, Veera is saying 65. Veera, I think you know his story. Great. So, you know, Colonel Sanders had many unsuccessful businesses. He also had a restaurant which he had to close down before KFC happened, and KFC became a big hit and such a multi-dollar company, right? So he, at the age of 65, had KFC launched. And the second one is Nawazuddin Siddiqui. So Nawazuddin Siddiqui now is a very well-known and renowned actor who's gaining a lot of accolades for his performances, getting all the lead roles. But you know how many years he had to struggle to actually be where he is? 12 years. It took him 12 years to actually reach where he is, right? He started with small side roles, very small roles, kept going, faced a lot of rejections and setbacks and kept going. And finally, now you see him where he is. Right? So do you all know? So what do you think is common between these two? Right? What is that one common quality that both of them have, which is very much required in every successful person? Right? Okay, I'm waiting for your responses. Never give up, hard work, patience, right? Never give up, patience, a lot of patience, never give up attitude. Absolutely. So all of y'all are writing the ability to bounce back, the ability to never give up, right? So the one and only one thing that will determine your long-term success is your grit, right? That is what even Angela Duckworth, the famous psychologist who has done a research, as I told you, found out that the number one quality which is common all across in all successful people all over the world is grit, right? So what is grit? Grit is working towards your goal with passion and perseverance and consistency over a long period of time, and you keep fighting daily. No matter whatever happens, no matter how boring you find it, right? No matter if you do not see the immediate results, and no matter how difficult things become. So no matter all these challenges and issues you face, the setbacks that you face, every day that you fight, every day that you put in your best towards your goal, you know, you work towards your goal with passion and perseverance and consistency. That is what is the most important factor for any successful individual, right? And let me tell you one thing, in this entire world there's nobody who has never failed, right? But the most important thing is the people who are very successful, the people whom we always admire, have always faced setbacks, but they have bounced back, right? So grit is the most important factor which determines your long-term success. So what if you didn't clear in the in the last attempt, right? In your long run, once you become a CA, and in your life, the one factor that will determine that you're a very successful individual is your grit, right? And the good part is grit can be developed and improved. So it is not some quality that only the most successful people have or the most rich people have. It is a quality that can be developed by anybody in this entire world, right? Now, how do I develop grit? The secret to bouncing back. So, our mind, so basically, if this is the mind, it works a lot on autopilots. Like autopilots are basically things which which the mind can do without paying much attention, right? So in our previous sessions, we spoke about autopilots and also about a lot of negative autopilots that we work on, like, which go on in our mind, like negativity, boredom, anxiety, worry, all these things. When your mind tells you that you cannot do it, or it's just impossible, you will fail again, or you are a failure, or all these things that happen to your mind, right? So this happens in everybody's mind, but the secret to bouncing back is you do not listen to your negative autopilot. So every time you have a negative autopilot, but you don't listen to it and you continue putting in your best efforts, you continue, even if someday you feel a particular chapter is very difficult and you remember all the negative things that happened in that subject in the past, but still you continue and put in your best efforts and you do not listen to your negative autopilots. Every time you do that, right, every hour you do that, you are developing your grit, right? And the more and more gritty you become, the more and more successful individual you're going to be in the long run, right? So it is very, very important that we never give up, right? So what I want you all to do is, maybe after the session, I want you to list down the most negative autopilots that come to your mind when things don't happen that, the way you want. Someday you had planned that I will study for maybe 8 hours, but you studied only for 3 hours. And then all the negativity starts. Maybe you tell yourself that nothing can be done, or my luck isn't on my side, I'm not good enough, or I have not prepared enough, I'm not worthy of it, I'm not worthy of becoming a CA, I think it will never happen. All the negative things that you tell yourself, right? So I want you to list down your negative autopilots. And now, after you do this activity, I want you to create your grit motto. Now, what is your grit motto? I'm going to tell you all, and I want you to do this exercise with me. I'm going to wait for you to do this exercise because it is a commitment which you have to make to yourself, right? So my commitment. So I'll tell you what you have to do, right? I am going to write it as if I am the person, I am you, right? So I, Supriya Samant, make a commitment to myself that I will be 100% gritty, persistent, and stubborn till I get to my goal. I seek extraordinary success and have put in intense effort towards it. I am a fighter. I will not let anything affect my grit to hang on till the end and get the job done. Then, be it negative thoughts about being a failure, whatever are your negative thoughts about being a failure, being very unlucky, or being always being a mediocre achiever, whatever you think are your negative thoughts that keep coming to you, right? No matter how difficult things get, no matter how bad I feel about it, I will stand up again with all my might and keep moving forward like a true winner. And that is my Supriya Samant's commitment to myself, and that is what defines me, right? Even if the world falls apart tomorrow, I will stay true to my commitment and keep moving forward. So what I want you all to do is, I'm going to keep the screen open, take 5-7 minutes. I want you to write your name and write this, right? And every day in the morning before you start your studies, I want you to read this commitment and start with your studies. This is a commitment that you make to yourself. Will you all do it now? Should I share the screen with you all? Will you all write? Yes? Will you make your commitment to me today that you are going to put in your best efforts all these coming days, no matter what your mind is telling you and all the negative autopilots? Yes? Can I get a hands up from everybody so that I know you all are with me? Okay, great. Yes, lovely, lovely. So let's write it. Okay. Okay, I'm giving you all some time. You all right? I'm waiting. Once you all finish, you can just give me a thumbs up so that I know you all have finished. Okay. Okay, great, great. So now how does it feel after writing the motto? How do you feel after you wrote your grit motto? Lovely. Great, great. I'm so glad that you are motivated. So, okay, lovely, lovely. So ensure that you read it every day. You've written all the negative things that bother you in this grit motto. So don't let these negative things impact you. You need to put in your best, and that is the only thing that will determine your long-term success. Every time you have this negative autopilot and you still continue, you've made a plan for the day and you still do it as per the plan, that is the time you are getting more and more, working one more step towards your goal and achieving your goal. Great. So Nikhil is saying that he's feeling very good. Parth is saying very confident. Lovely. Very happy to know that. Okay. Lovely. Okay. And now coming to the Q&A. Acha, before I start with the Q&A, I had somebody asking me about visualization, that what time you have to do it. You have to, preferably, it is good if you do it at night. Second thing, how much time it takes. See, first I want you to do the process visualization with all your feelings and emotions. And then once you prepare your mark sheet, see your mark sheet and the feelings that you want, and imagine that you're actually getting it, and uh, how the whole surrounding will be. You will be accompanied by your relatives, as in your parents or your friends, when you're checking, and what are the emotions you'll have. So it is a hardly 15 minutes activity, but once you do that, you are giving a tremendous boost to your performance during exams, because your mind will be in a much more comfortable state, feeling that this has happened to me many times, and this is something which is absolutely in my comfort zone, right? So now that I've answered questions related to visualization, let's begin with your questions. Okay. Prabhu is saying that after he wrote that, he's feeling a burning desire to study more and put in his best efforts. I'm so glad. Veera, any meditation? Veera is asking, can you share or suggest any meditation for our study visualization? So actually, for my one-to-one students, I work with them to create their meditations. So as such, there is no guided meditation which I can share. But if you actually follow these steps, and maybe at that time you can listen to, you can just keep some instrumental music on or some light music on and do it, right? Okay, Veera, I hope I answered your question. Next question is from Tejas. Tejas is saying that whenever I sit for studies, I get totally blank and feel lost, as I'm not able to decide where to start. What topic should I pick first? How much time should I devote for it? I lack in planning my study routine. Please help me be more productive. So Tejas, as I've told you in my previous sessions also, it is very important that when you're so close to exams, that at least you have a broad level plan in place. I hope by now you've finished with your concepts and you are on revisions. So you need to very well know, like, maybe you're taking like five days per subject to revise, right? So at least a broad level plan, like maybe my first level of revision ends by maybe by 10th of April, and the second set of revision. So if you all remember, I had told you all at least one set of papers you need to write in the exam style. So at least the last 20 days you need to keep for them. So just giving you an example. So you have a broad level plan and a weekly plan. So once you make your broad level plan, it is very important that I have a weekly plan in place, that I know exactly this is what I have to do in the day. So if you have that plan ready, Tejas, every day you get up with a target and you will ensure that you put in your best, right? So it's very important that once a week, once you've made a broad level plan, every week you see your weekly plan and you ensure that you stick to your plan every day. See, every day morning when you get up with a target in place, right? Once you've prepared your plan, you will see automatically this feeling of being left, lost or not able to study will reduce, right? And Tejas, what I can tell you is I've also given you a lot of techniques in the previous webinars about what you can do to get your mind centered to studies, right? You can see techniques of stress and anxiety. Also, you can see session 1 wherein I've told you the alpha technique. So please use all these techniques to ensure that your mind is at place, it is centered, it's calm and composed, and you're able to study well, right? I hope I answered your question, Tejas. I'm moving on to the next. Samay is asking how much revision to score well. So again, minimum 2 revisions. So after one set of detailed revision, one paper, 100 marks paper mock test you have to write, another set of revision in exam style, right? 2 revisions are minimum. The more revisions you do, the better it is, right? The more paper writing, the more revisions, the better it is. So wherever you have to analyze what is my current position, where am I at this point of time, and accordingly you make your plan and how you'll be revising. But these 2 revisions which I've told you, and writing 200 marks paper, minimum 200 marks papers, is very, very crucial. Okay, next. Okay, Mrunal is asking. One second. How? Okay, Mrunal is asking, ma'am, if thoughts like my study is not up to the mark, while visualization, how do I visualize? How do I deal with it? So, Mrunal, that's why I told you, when your mind is complaining, it is very negative, it is thinking you're not doing well, a very important thing that you do before visualization is the gratitude practice. You try it out. You just change, just start for some time, basically you will be visualizing before you fall asleep. So you would have stopped studying, you would have taken a break, and then started the visualization. So before visualization, please do the gratitude practice. Once you start counting your blessings, once you're thankful for what you have in the present, you will see there's a shift of mindset, and automatically the visualization will be much more effective, right? So please do the gratitude practice to ensure that you can visualize, because it is very normal for each one of us to always think negative and keep complaining about what all we don't have in the present, right? And always look at the negative things. But once you start counting your blessings, you will see that automatically there's a shift of mindset, and you can think of good things happening to you in the future. I hope I answered your question, Runal. Okay. Next is Santosh. Santosh is asking, ma'am, I always skip giving test series, thinking I have not prepared enough, but because of that, it always gets postponed. How should the approach to write the test series be? See, Santosh, test series are very important. As I tell you, mocks, you need to revise and write a mock, because till you write a mock, you will never get the confidence that yes, I have studied well, because that will tell you where is it that you stand and what are your areas of weakness. So please don't avoid writing mocks. If you feel that you finished with a subject's revision, just write a mock, because that is the time it will help, that will give you a lot of confidence and analyzing your weakness also, right? Okay, next question is from Raghav, that I want to study 10 to 12 hours, but end up studying only 7 to 8 hours. So Raghav, long hours is getting very tedious for you. What you can do is, I have told this before, I'll tell you all again. Try dividing your study sessions in shorter slots. Maybe you study for 45 minutes, take a 5-7 minutes break, again study for 45 minutes, then you take a 10-15 minutes break. So, you've overall studied for 1.5 hours. But very important is, in a break, please don't do anything which, like engages your mind. So no social media, YouTube, and Netflix and Instagram and all. Only things which relax your mind have to be done in the short break. So listen to music, talk to family members, do some small work at home. If you have anything that relaxes your mind, you can do it. So what will happen is, if when you divide your studies in shorter breaks, you will see that you are not getting exhausted, right? So try this out. This will help you increase your study hours also without getting exhausted, and you'll be fresh and rejuvenated, but still be able to study, right? Okay, KS is asking what exactly grit means. So grit means that in spite of whatever is happening in your mind, in spite of all the failures that you're facing, you ensure that you still put in your best efforts and you keep fighting daily, basically, till you achieve the goal that you have targeted, right? Like I gave you the example of Nawazuddin Siddiqui. 12 years he tried, right? Started with very, very small roles, but he didn't give up. And finally, he's there at, whatever his aim for in life was. He has reached that goal, that aim, right? So grit is going on, fighting all your negative autopilots daily, things which your mind telling you cannot do it. Still, whatever you've decided, planning, sticking to that plan and putting in your best efforts every single day, right? That means keep fighting daily and you will reach your goal. Vaishnavi is asking, every time I make a plan, I often change it. What should I do to follow? And while revising, should we pick one or two subjects? So Vaishnavi, if your plans are changing, doing one subject, it is getting very boring. You can make your study plan interesting. You can take a subject which is easy for you and a difficult subject, right? So that things are better. So what you can do is, in the very productive time, take the difficult subject. In the lesser productive time, take a easier subject. So what will happen is you are studying well, you're not getting bored, and you are finishing a subject. And once you finish revising that particular subject, please write a mock test. Very, very important. After you finish each subject, please write mocks, right? Okay. Next question. Okay. I can't. Who is asking this? Okay, who is asking this? Okay, Sharmili is asking how to see session 1. So please go to YouTube, CA test series. You will get the sessions, right? Till now, I think 4 sessions are already uploaded. The 5th one is being uploaded, and today is the 6th one, right? Okay, Vaishali is saying, I can't focus more than 20 minutes at a time. So I take a break, but sometimes the break goes too long. Okay, so Vaishali, if that is the case, as I told you, what you do in the break is also very important. So if you use your breaks to relax your mind, you will be able to go back to studies. But if you use your breaks to again engage your minds in activities like watching Instagram or watching YouTube and all those YouTube shorts and Instagram reels, you will not be able to study, right? So very important that how you use your breaks. Divya is asking, should I revise 2 or 3 subjects in a day? See, I always recommend 2 subjects, because if you do 3 subjects in a day, you tend to spend very little time on each subject. If you're studying for 4, so if you're studying for 12 hours, still you will get 4 hours per subject. But in 4 hours, how much can you finish, right? I'm saying if you study 12 hours, right? So if you study, take 2 subjects, at least you will finish a chunk of portion in a day for one subject, and then you move on to the next. So my recommendation is 2 hours should be 2 subjects should be good in a day. Take a difficult subject and an easy subject, so your day is, you can manage it also well, and it's very, very productive. Okay, next question is from Prabhu again. My problem is that I can visualize my success and desired marks, which makes me overthink and overconfident. How to control that, ma'am? So see, it is good to be confident. That overconfident is something which you should not be, because what happens when you tend to be overconfident in exams, you tend to make silly mistakes, right? So you need to understand something, that this is visualization and this is something which you desire, but this can only happen when you work towards it, right? So just desiring is not going to take you anywhere. Working towards it is very, very crucial, right? So when you get this thought that I have to work towards the targeted marks that I want, automatically you will see your overconfidence will reduce, and you will focus on getting the, using the balanced days really well for your exams. Next, should we revise one subject at a time? Means 5 days only one subject. Kamal, yes, if you are okay, studying, you don't get bored studying only one subject a day, it is absolutely fine. If you take one subject 5 days, on the 5th day or on the 6th day, please ensure that you're writing a paper, but you're writing a 100 marks paper on the last day of the subject. It is absolutely okay if you take one subject at a time, finish it completely and move on to the next subject, right? No issue at all. Okay, Samay is saying that he's on his first revision. So as I told you, Samay, first after every revision, please ensure you write a paper. Second set of revisions, it will be great if you can write one in the exam style. And after you finish these 2 revisions, if you have buffer days left, then whatever weaknesses you realize, like, this chapter is still not good. It's a very important chapter, but this concept is not good. You can use these buffer days, for example, you still have 10-15 days to your exam. Maybe you divide it equally in each subject and do the things which are very, very crucial, or the things which are very important, but still your understanding is not good. You can cover those, you can keep those days for that, right? So if you have ample time and you get time to do 3 revisions, well and good, but at least 2 revisions are very, very important. And one more thing I want to tell all of you all is, at this stage, please don't, at least once you are like 1 month from the exam, the last 1 month has to be spent only on revisions, and don't do any new concepts and new chapters. What you have done, do it well. Don't spend time on doing something new. Instead, focus on whatever is done really, really well, right? Okay, next is KS. KS is asking, ma'am, I still have lectures to complete and I'm feeling whether to complete those or start with revision of already completed lectures at this time. So KS, it depends whether you have one group or 2 groups. So if you have one group, and if you can, you're sure you can finish the balance lectures in the next few days, what you can do is you divide your day in half, 2 parts. One part you can just revise completing the balance lectures, and second part of the day you can revise what you have done before, right? So that you come to a point that you've finished all the lectures and you are just focusing on doing the revision. Next question is from Siddhi is saying, ma'am, after planning, I study effectively, but whenever by any reason I'm not able to follow plan, for example, sudden family plan, or maybe a missing test by technical issue, I get distracted and can't come back again on the path as per plan and concentrate again, because entire planning gets distracted. How to follow plan without effects of missed things in plan? See, it is very normal, as I've told you, when you make a weekly plan, you assume that 85% will be followed, right? And balance 10-15% might go up down, maybe because of, as you said, there is some family event which you have to attend, or maybe because sometimes we fall sick. So in that scenario, what you have to do is, instead of regretting that it has not happened, what you have to do is ensure in the balance few days, maybe you study half an hour more or 1 hour more, and whatever is the balance portion, you try to cover it, right? But if you just stop studying, you will not, it will be a complete mess. Instead of missing out on half a day, you'll be missing out on 3 to 4 days, right? So very, very important that when you miss out on certain things, try stretching till the next few days and try to cover the balance portion, instead of just stopping your studies and getting very, very demotivated, right? Because it is very normal that at times things will not go the way you exactly plan. So just accept it, right? Okay, next question is Mamta is asking, I have 2 papers of group 2 in May 24, but the problem is my motivation is completely down after listening to the postponement news, and I'm like, I can cope up the syllabus in future, and I'm not able to study from last evening. Mamta, what I'm telling you is, instead of thinking that 2 papers I can easily manage in the next few months, think that how can I score exceptionally well in these 2 papers? How can I get the best and the highest marks? You'll automatically get motivated. Why do you think of just passing in these 2 subjects? Why can't you think that you can score really well, maybe get the highest in that particular subject, right? So if you just change your approach towards your studies, you will automatically see that motivation coming from within, right, Mamta? So just think that these 2 subjects, whatever time I have, I'm going to put in my best efforts. I'll write how many ever test series and mock tests I can, so that, you know, I'm sure that when I give these papers, I am going to get the best marks I can. Right? Okay, next question. If there are any particular subject-wise queries like Ragini, you can connect with CA Club in CA test series, chapter-wise, subject-wise experts. You can WhatsApp them, and if you have subject-wise queries, they will surely answer. They have subject-wise experts for each subject for all the levels. So please connect with them. Okay, next question. Syed is saying, once I revise a topic, I find it difficult to reread. मन नहीं करता दोबारा पढ़ने का. See, Syed, it is very normal that, you know, after certain days have passed, whatever you've done on day 1, you will not remember 100% on the day 10th or day 15th, right? So revisions are very, very important. So even if you don't feel like doing it, you have to do it. You can make it more interesting for you. I've given you all so many study techniques. You can use the teach technique. You can use the SQ3R method. I've given you all a lot of methods in the previous session. So you'll try to make your studies very, very interesting. You can give multiple mocks, right? Like chapter-wise tests from CA test series, so that your studies become interesting. So if you finished your revision, focus on writing different type of questions, solving different question papers, so that you know that whatever you've studied, you are able to apply your knowledge. So instead of getting bored, please use this time really well to make maximum use of this time. Okay, next question. Nikhil, for FR, you may connect CA test series for their FR subject expert. Yeah. Next question. Avni is saying that while studying, I deal with a lot of distractions and time passes away. I find myself in a loop of thinking and thoughts. What should I do? So, Avni, previously in previous few sessions, I have given you various techniques to ensure that your mind is calm and composed, and how to condition your mind before a study session. So I'll request you, please go through the previous videos and you'll get your answer. I've given you multiple techniques to help you center your thoughts and to be able to study in a very, very focused way. Okay. Sarvesh, for paper 6, as I told you again, chapter subject-wise queries, you may please connect with CA test series. Okay, Jyoti is asking. Jyotirmay is asking, are previous videos available in YouTube? Yes, please go to the CA test series YouTube channel and you will be able to find all the previous webinars. Okay. Raja Varshini is asking how to increase concentration. I'll again request you to please go through the previous webinars. You'll get a lot of tips and a lot of techniques to help you increase your focus and concentration. Okay. Kamal is asking, I want revision schedule for Unit 2 exam, audit, FM and SM. I'm confused with how to do revision, because when I start doing audit, I take more time in completing one chapter. So again, as I told you, Kamal, if audit is something which is not very interesting for you, you may divide your day in 2 parts. You may take one theory and a practical subject. And if practical is your forte and theory is not, and morning is a very, very productive time, what you may do is take 2 subjects at a time. Take audit and take FM. Audit, maybe you do it in the morning, FM in the evening, right? And every day you have a target, like, you set your weekly targets and decide what is it that I have to complete in audit and FM in the week, right? And that is the way you can use your time really well. So once you finish FM, in the second half, along with audit, you can finish SM, so that your day is utilized very well. And as I told you, after every revision, please ensure that you're writing papers and one paper in the exam style. Okay. Next question is, ma'am, when I give a test and score low marks uh, than expected, I feel demotivated that my studies are not going enough and I can't do it. See, your name is Arya. See, Arya, it is very important that instead of instead of getting demotivated, just change your mindset. Think that I am doing this much before my actual exams, and whatever is the feedback I'm getting, I'm going to use it to my advantage. See, there are two ways of looking at it. Either you get demotivated that, oh, I'm not putting in my best efforts, or the other way, right? The other way is seeing where is it that I'm going wrong and ensuring that you work on your weak areas. And the next time you write this test, you write it really well, working on all the weaknesses that you have. See, you have to take test series as a way to understand what are my weaknesses and how I work on them, right? So just change your approach. Don't get demotivated. Use it as a place to understand and work on your weakness, right? So if you, every time you write a test, you understand this is something where I'm falling short, please work on that particular area and write the next test. You will see with this change of attitude, you will be much more confident and you will be able to study better and you'll score much better marks in the next attempt as a next CA test series exam that you give. Kamal is asking subject-wise experts from CAtest series. So you will get their WhatsApp number on their website. You can just WhatsApp them. They'll connect you to the respected person. Next is my elective paper is exempt with 71 marks. Kundan is asking, so in which group should I focus more? Whenever I'm studying second group, then I'm thinking about first group. So kindly help, ma'am. See, Kundan, you have to analyze that where is it that I stand in each subject, whether you're giving one group of, I think you're planning to give both groups, right? So you have to see whether first group you need to put in more efforts or second group. If it is first group, first focus on first group, finishing revision chapter, subject wise revision and writing papers, and then you move on to the second group. So please first, you do an audit, like where is it I stand in each subject on a scale of 1 to 10. How will I rate each subject? Whether on the portion completion and my understanding. And on that basis, please prepare your schedule for the upcoming months. Next question. How much weightage of paper 1 to 5 and paper 6 for the final? So again, I'll tell you, you can please connect with CA test series for that. Okay, Vibhuti is asking, how do I plan my studies if I also go to office and do not get sufficient time? So Vibhuti, when you are somebody who's doing articleship or you're a working person, the key here is, you are using your mornings and evenings very, very well, and the weekends in the best possible way. So you need to make a plan wherein at least you know that on weekdays, this is the minimum time that I'm going to study, maybe 5 hours, right? And in those 5 hours, how much portion I'm going to complete. And on weekends, try to put in your maximum efforts. So you come to a stage when you actually get your exam leave, at least you are done with, you only have revisions left, and you have done, at least you're done with all the concepts and with all your video lectures, and you're just focusing on revisions when you get your leave. Yeah, Vibhuti, I hope I answered your question. Okay, Parth is asking, while studying, sometimes some things happened. I totally start thinking about that things, but they waste my time. But again, but again, you feel that it's a mistake because you wasted your time. See, Parth, first thing what you do is when you get thoughts, first and foremost, you try ignoring those thoughts. Like, when you're studying and there's a small kid who's come around, what will you do? You don't go and tell that kid something, right? You continue your work. So basically what you do is, inside our head, we usually tend to do a mental Q&A. You keep answering your, whatever is going on in your head. So first and foremost, try
not answering whatever thoughts are coming to your mind when you're studying. First, you do that. If in spite of this, it is not happening, second thing you can do is just take a break, or just take a stroll around and come back to studies. Third, if all this is also not working, if the thoughts are very negative, what you could do is you could write whatever you're feeling, however negative or however bad you're feeling, write it down. What happens is when we write down, it reduces the intensity of the negative thoughts. So a very, very good way of making your mind free and reducing the intensity of negative thoughts is writing. So however bad it seems, however negative your thought is, please write down whatever you're feeling. You'll see after some time, you'll automatically cool down. Your negativity will reduce, right? And then you can throw away the paper. Writing is very, very effective. When somebody, some close relative or a close person gives you a card, you actually, handmade card, you feel those emotions, right? So emotions do get transferred. So similarly, when you write down, all the negative emotions also reduce, and you will see your mind is much more calm, composed, and less cluttered, right? So try writing. So I've told you 3 things you can do to help you reduce your whatever thoughts, especially negative thoughts that you get. Samay is asking, what should I do for audit after one reading? See, once you finish the conceptual understanding, Samay, second reading, you focus on revisions, right? So you're revising, you're marking the most important things. You are finding out what is the ABC analysis. You're thinking how you are going to, during your exam days, how you're going to strategize. What are you going to study on day one? Like, once you're back from a paper, from the previous paper, how are you going to study audit? So all these things you have to make in the revision phase, you have to think of. Also, you have to do paper writing in the revision phase. So as I told you, try and writing more and more 100 marks papers, right? And I hope all of you all, I keep telling you all, very, very important, please do MCQ practice. I didn't tell you all in the sessions, but I'm telling you once again, you all know that 30 marks are for MCQs every day, whichever subject you're doing. Please do dedicated MCQ practice. CAtestseries has a variety of MCQs which are free for everybody, right? You have subject-wise, you have chapter-wise. Please make maximum use of it. They have different questions, different types of questions which will help you understand that, what you've studied, whether you're actually able to apply your knowledge. So please make maximum use of it, because 30 marks, if you score it, it will help you increase that subject score to a great extent, right? Okay, have I answered all your questions? Okay. Okay, Vikas is asking when to do MCQs in final CA so that enough time is available for subjective part. For final exams, it is good if you could finish, initially you finish with your MCQs and then you move on to subjective, right? So the good thing is there's no negative marking. So what you can do is whatever you know first, you finish writing those MCQs. You can keep, you may leave the ones which you don't have time, like, which you do not know, and you can keep them for the very end when you get time to solve that. And even if you don't know, please do attempt, because we don't have negative marks. Okay, Avni's asking, I'm not able to get up in the morning to study, but I want to. How to get up early, ma'am? See, I am someone who tells students, like, everybody has a different time of the day when they are very productive. So, Avni, if you are a night person, it's okay if you study long hours at night and you get up, late. As in, it's important that you get your 8 hours sleep. So whatever time is comfortable for you is okay if you get up at that time. But if you are someone who's a morning person and likes to study in the morning, then you need to get up early in the morning and study, right? But what is very important is you get your 8 hours sleep. So if you want to get up early, ensure that you're sleeping early, right? So every day, if you want, your target is that I want to get up at 6, and now currently you're getting up at 8, you cannot go directly from 8 to 6. What you can do is half an hour, 5 days you can try. You try getting up half an hour earlier, wherein you come to a point that you reach 6 o'clock. But the most important thing is you get your 8 hours sleep, right? Your mind is rested and you're able to study well, right? No compromise on sleep during exam days also. Very, very important that you get your sleep, because only when my mind is fresh, whatever I've studied, I'm able to apply my knowledge and write my papers, right? Very important. Sleep is a very important factor in the preparation period. Next question. Madam, it is my first attempt. When I do accounts, make silly mistakes because of overconfidence and try to reduce my time for attempting questions. See, Sagar, you know, the only way is, see, overconfidence will not help you. As I told you, it's good to have confidence, but overconfidence leads to silly mistakes. So now that you've realized that when you're getting overconfident, you're making silly mistakes, the only way is when you're writing, you're attempting a question, ensuring that you're putting in, you know, you're completely there, your attention is there completely on the question, and that will happen when you solve more and more questions. So try solving multiple test series to ensure that, you know, you're getting the hang of paying attention when you're reading a question and solving it, right? Okay, next question. Vikas is asking how to ensure, okay, sorry. Rangrez is asking how to make better presentation in exam paper. So if you go to week 2 on CAtestseries website, we have an entire webinar on presentation skills. Kindly go through it. And about planning also, how to write your papers also, how much time to give to MCQs, everything is covered. So because even your question will be getting covered there, right? So there's a webinar on that. Please go through it. The time taken with each revision should be reduced, but I'm unable to do that. See, Nikhil is asking that, yes, the time taken for each revision has to be reduced, and that can only be reduced because if you have your markings in place. See, it is very important that after every revision, you keep having your markings, you know, and you have to go through those markings only. You cannot go through the entire detailed portion every single time. So as the number of revisions happen, your markings play a very important role. So whatever you've marked is very, very important. Things which you have to see, you have to only go through that. So for example, in practical, you know, you have 4 questions which are of the same type. So you are not going to go through the 4 questions. You will go through the question 1 in detail, and question 2, 3, 4, only the important adjustments or entries that you have highlighted, that this I have to go through, you will go through it, right? And you have to trust yourself that yes, rest of it, I am going to be able to answer, right? Markings are very important. So please ensure in your revisions, especially in your last revision, you have all your markings in place and you know on the exam days what exactly you have to see, because you cannot see the entire portion. So that's why I told you all, very important. You do write your alternate days exams, because that is like, you know, alternate days mock tests, I mean, so that you know that what exactly I have to do in exams. Because finally, whatever you're doing in these so many months, 1.5 days is what you have to use it really well, right? That is how you'll cover your portion. So please ensure you're doing your 1.5 days mock well in advance, so that you know how you're going about in your portion. Yeah. Next question. Okay, Vikas, your second webinar, you will get, you know, when you go to CAtestseries, you will get the name of the webinar and the topic also what is covered. So you will get an idea which webinar covers which topic. So you may accordingly go through that. So basically, you have to go to the CAtestseries YouTube channel. Okay, Rushali is saying that when I'm motivated, I can go on studying very nicely for 10 days straight, but that energy boost goes away all of a sudden. How to maintain the consistency? See, Rushali, when you're studying, as I told you, to ensure that you are studying well, you ensure that you don't get exhausted. You are dividing your day in such a manner that, you know, you're taking sufficient breaks. You're spending time to do things that you like, maybe half an hour or 15 minutes. Also doing some daily physical activity, maybe for 15-20 minutes, you know, half an hour or 15-20 minutes if you're not getting time. If you do all these things well, you're taking your breaks, you know, you're dividing your study sessions in shorter slots, you will see that your energy is good. You are able to maintain your energy and you're not getting exhausted. What you can do is after a week, in a week, maybe 4-5 hours, you can just take a break, relax, enjoy, maybe go out with your friends. That's absolutely okay, right? But rest of the days is important that you're consistent. So it's okay if you take, you know, 4 to 5 hours, half day break in a week to just relax and rejuvenate yourself, right? Because this is not some torture that you're going through. You're giving your exams which you want to give, right? So this period is also important. You need to be in a good state of mind and healthy also, right, Vishali? Okay, I think I have answered all your questions. So how to be consistent? Again, consistency, stress, all this I have covered in the previous sessions. So it will be great if you can go through the previous webinars. I think one question is still remaining. Exam time stress, I tend to forget everything. So Rangres, to help you with your exam time stress, there are some breathing techniques I have given in webinar 5. Also, I am also today, as I told you, visualization. This is also a very effective technique which will help you reduce your anxiety, exam anxiety to a great extent, right? So please make use of all these techniques. Okay. I think one more question I have missed. 1 minute. Sneha is saying, I have completed studies of Group 2. Should I also start studying for Group 1 if exam gets postponed to June? Is there sufficient time left? So if exam gets postponed to June, Sneha, what I can tell you is, yes, you start studying for Group 1. At the same time, keep some hours in a day wherein you're revising Group 2, right? So maybe 4 or 5 hours in a day you can keep to Group 2, wherein you're doing Group 2 revisions. At the same time, you are doing Group 1, you're doing the new portion, but this is only subject to your exams are getting postponed to June, or else you focus completely on revisions, right? So Sandeep is asking, ma'am, all motivation ends after a short time. How we can retain it for a longer time? So Sandeep, in webinar 5, we spoke about how you can find your motivation within by finding your reason or purpose, that why you are doing this entire thing. See, what happens is we always tend to look outside for motivation. We are looking at motivational videos on YouTube, Instagram, but till the time the motivation comes from within, it will not it will not be there for long. So very, very important. Please go through the session on purpose, do that activity, find your purpose so that you are able to put in your best efforts. And, even if you're getting demotivated, you have your own reason or purpose, your own motivation to keep you motivated in this entire process, right? So please go through the purpose session, which is there on CAtestseries YouTube channel. And please take time and write down your own reason or purpose. Ma'am, how to increase our speed in writing exams? During test series, and I'm unable to attend all the questions. Even after knowing how to solve it, need guidance mainly in CA, Inter, Advanced and Tax. So for these 2 subjects specifically, as I told you, you may connect with CA test series. What I can tell you is, one way to improve your speed is writing more and more test series. Second is ensuring that the 15 minutes that you get, right, you are strategizing and doing things, you are strategizing how you will be writing your paper. That is very, very crucial. Very important is, first you do things which you know very well and you finish it off well, and last you keep for the difficult papers, right? So otherwise, for advanced accounts and tax, if you have particular questions, you may connect with CA test series. Okay. How many hours stop studying in exam time? So Rangres, once you leave your exam, like you leave your house to write the papers, that point of time, stop studying. Don't carry your books to the, don't try to study when you're traveling or in the exam hall. Till that time, you may study. But once you leave your house to write your exams, please stop. At that time, just ensure you're just relaxing your mind. You are just, doing the breathing exercises I have told you. Because at that point, to ensure that you're able to write and recollect everything, it is very important that your mind is very calm and composed and your heartbeat is very normal, right? So for that, please reach the exam hall before, calm yourself down, do the breathing exercises which I have told you all in previous sessions, so that your mind is calm, composed, and whatever question is asked, you'll be able to think and write, right? Nikhil is asking, can you share the mentorship session playlist? So Nikhil, as I told you, please go to YouTube. You will get all these. They have been recently uploaded. So you just go to the CA test series channel. You will get all of them. Okay, I think I've answered all your questions. Any more remaining, or should I end with today's session? Yes. Anybody? Any more questions? Okay. Fine. So I think I've answered all your questions. So see you all next week for the next session on mentorship. Whatever you all have missed, as I told you all can go to the YouTube channel for the previous sessions. And I hope you all found this session useful. And all the very best. Prepare well, study well, keep all the things that I've told you all in your mind and use each and every day well and make each and every day count and very, very productive. Okay, have a lovely Sunday. Take care, all of you. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Yes. You're welcome, Faiza. You're welcome, all of you. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
The webinar has ended. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.